So thank you guys for being here. I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then we'll talk about mobilizing the urban church and how we are doing it. All right. David, would you like to bless us since we are in this setting and pray for this time?
Father, we thank you so much for the joy of being here today. We pray for those who are on their way, and we just pray that these 2 days would be life-changing for many and culture-changing for our city. And I thank you that Brother Joaquin is here and Brother Obed, that we get to hear a little bit about what's happening in the Latino work, and I just pray that you would bless the work of their hands and prosper it, and that you'd bless our time together tonight. In your name.
Amen. Well, first, Obed Escobar. I'm the director of Titus Foundation, and I'm from Guatemala. I've been here for 32 years. And Justin and the Gilbert and Chandler in this area, of course, when we came, there was nothing here. Truly nothing.
Algodón.
Yeah, algodón. Puro algodón, yeah. So now it's amazing, right? Should have bought 4 houses then.
You should have bought a lot of land.
You should have.
It would have been
Land.
All right, so but it's been a blessing. I have worked in many organizations, non-profits. I was a pastor of a Hispanic church for 12 years here in Mesa, Via Church, and then
Via Church.
Yeah,
On Power.
on Power. Back then it was called Red Mountain Christian Center. Yeah, so I was there for 12 years. Yeah, from there we went to CCV, which is a small little church. One of their pastors there for 2 years, and it was a big blessing. It was almost like going back to school, because the team at CCV is just amazing, and their passion to reach the valley for Christ, it really had a great impact in me. So the way that they look at church, they look at the valley. Every time they plan something, every time that they do something, it's like it's good for the valley, and that really impacted me. It made a big difference in my life. And so from there I went to work for a nonprofit organizations, and now we are directing the Titus Foundation, which the main focus is to mobilize the urban church, truly, but we are doing it through the next generation. And I was supposed to give them a cue. Here the cue. Like this. Yeah. Those right there too, yeah.
Oh, these are yours? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
those are mine. Yeah. So the number thing, or the main thing that we're doing right now is equipping urban pastors to foster youth formation. We are betting on the next generation to reach out Latinos and Hispanic and urban churches, right? Most of our Latino churches are located in urban areas of our city, and so we have been doing that for many years, and that has opened the doors. Because of our work on training and equipping urban pastors, we did a research about 5 years ago, and then we interviewed 100 urban Hispanic pastors, and we asked them, one of the questions was, how can we help you be more effective as you reach out your community, urban community? And they, of course, told us many things, but one of the things that we've learned is that 96% of the people that are training youth and children in our churches didn't have any type of formal or informal training, and zero training. Pastor was just asking them, can you help us running the youth ministry or children's ministry of our church? And if those who are working with teenagers and children do not have the training, how are we going to train the next generation? We have lost, since I got here, 3-4 generations of Hispanics in this valley. And that's why we decided that we are not going to lose one more generation here in the Valley. And so we started by equipping urban pastors and equipping them to foster, to disciple, to train the next generation. And even till today, if a suburban church wants to reach out to an urban community or the Hispanic community, they say, we need to find somebody that speaks Spanish. Should we start a service in Spanish? Should we learn in Spanish? When 70 to 74% of the next generation of our young people that are Hispanic, they all speak English. Everybody, almost 43% of the kids graduating from high school here in the Valley are Hispanic. They all know English. They go to the movies in English. They go to work in English. They're going to universities in English. But when we think Hispanic outreach, we're thinking Spanish. We don't have to do that. And that is the reason why here in the Valley, with the population of Hispanics so big as it is right now, we do not have healthy, thriving churches in the Valley. We can count them with our fingers, maybe 4 or 5. Why? Because urban pastor or Hispanic pastor have not been training the next generation, the next youth leader, the next church planter to reach out to the Hispanic community. And the church is all in English. So we started doing that, and that opened a lot of doors for us and gave us a lot of grace with the pastors. Because one of the things that we decided to do is never, ever, ever, ever charge for any training, any support, any resource for Hispanic pastors. Because we have been used many times by organizations saying, oh, we'll invite you to this breakfast, and all they want is sell their books, sell their products, sell their services. We decided we're not going to charge, and that opened the doors for the Titus in a big way. That is GCU last Saturday. We had 120 youth leaders Saturday at GCU, training and equipping them. And so what we did is
all Latino leaders?
Those are all Latino.
Okay.
And few African Americans, because we focus on the urban youth. And sometimes we're working with probably 6-7 African American churches as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We call it urban ministry. But here in Phoenix, 96 or 94% are Hispanic. So when it comes to youth leader, we do it all in English. And I'm not the only one that do the training or equipping or developing. We use many people, from all over the Valley. And so, again, we're here because we're trying to learn how to mobilize the urban church, right? And again, I will say that the main idea for this talk is that if you want to reach out to urban Latino churches, focus on the next generation. There's so many things that we can talk about it. We have been discovering so many great things, and starting next year, Dr. George Barna is going to help us do our research of the effect of what Titus training is having in the Valley. And so we are very thrilled about that. And it's a miracle, actually. It's a miracle that but he believes that it's not to gain support for our work, but to go into the governor's office and show them the effect of the training. When you focus on training the next generation, we focus on leadership development, Christian worldview, and ministry. And so those are the things. So if you're here trying to learn how to reach out to the urban church, focus on developing the next generation of leaders. We have a lack of leadership not only in our churches, but in the Hispanic community as a whole. It's very hard to find a leader. And when we have them, they are so isolated from each other.
Are they?
Yes, for sure. Like, you might find a youth leader doing a great work here in South Phoenix. There's another great youth leader doing a great work in Maryville. And they do not talk to each other, just not because they don't want to, that is an advantage to us now, actually, that they do want to work together. You know how the big saying that pastors don't work well together and all of that? Yeah. Well, the next generation of, I'm talking about urban Hispanic, they do want to work together. They go to their pastor and say, if we're not working with other churches, I don't want nothing to do with this. Mm-hmm. You have to give us the permission and the okay to work with other leaders. And we are taking advantage of that, big time. So we do that. Again, we focus on Christian worldview, big time. We are developing a Christian worldview training right now with the help of Grand Canyon University. They have been a blessing.
Mike Richardson?
Say that again?
¿Conoces a Mike Richardson?
No.
He was a worker in Argentina. He speaks Spanish perfectly, and he's at GCU teaching worldview.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I work with the people from the School of Theology. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, you want me to send you his info?
I will, yeah. I never say no to any contact. Yeah. So if you have anybody that you know that can help us, not Titus Foundation, but they can help us, help our movement, please let us know. But so Christian worldview, we truly, and that is making an impact, especially among Hispanics, from you name it. And I don't want to get political here because I do not go there, but I will say that even affect how they are voting when they have the right Christian worldview. You don't have to tell them. They know. It's having a big impact, and I know that in a few years we'll be able to see it in foster care. 43 of the kids in foster care, of the 15,000 kids in foster care in Arizona are Hispanics.
What percent did you?
Like 43, 42, right around there. And mostly concentrated in areas like Maryvale. If we can make an impact in Maryvale, we will see results in the number of kids going into foster care system. Even in our girls, Hispanic girls, having abortion. So Christian worldview is giving them a different look of not only God's creation but society, how everything works. You know, why am I here? What is my mission? What is my purpose? Not only as a Christian, but as a citizen of this country. And so we are, and that is exactly actually what Dr. Barnett is going to help us measure, because he focuses big time on Christian worldview. And he's working with ACU, with Glenn Mansell. And so we are very excited, and if you need something to pray about, please pray about that. And then we developing, so I talk about leadership development. We want to make leaders out of them. They are already leaders. They just don't know it yet. And that's another thing when they said, wow, I didn't know that we could do that. I didn't know that we were able, as a church, one of our missions is to reach out to our community, because our kids will live in our churches because they were, even this is happening in the American church as well, that they were leaving the church because they said, what is the purpose of the church? We're not accomplishing anything. We're not making a difference. When you can show them that you can make a difference in your community, I mean, we're seeing great things, and I give them the credit. They are the one doing it. If you ever hear that the Titus Foundation is doing this, is doing that, please know that it's the young people that we're training, that they're like, oh, we know. One thing right now is that in probably 7 years, the Hispanics are going to be the majority here in Phoenix.
7?
Yeah. Probably less than that.
Yeah.
And for all this year, we've been saying, well, we're a minority here, you know. The big brother is looking out for us. But now that they're like, now we are the majority. Now it is our turn to make the good decisions, you know, to lead. And I think that if we equip them with great Christian worldview and Bible knowledge, it's going to make a big difference. And so, next one. So right now we're working very hard in building a statewide, I'm sorry, I tend to talk too fast, movement to foster discipleship among urban youth. We are including everybody that want to be part of that. I mean, from organizations, nonprofits, churches, you name it, anybody that is interested in leading this movement. We are losing not a surprise, right, that we are losing our young people are leaving our churches. We're excited. There was a pastor from an American church that supported us. He said, "Hey, dude, we need to do that in our church.
Yeah.
Not just for the urban young people." And so, again, the main theme is how do we mobilize the urban church, right? We not only believe that the urban church, is the agent of transformation for any community. Again, I have worked for different nonprofit organizations, and usually, and that was what I was doing before. For 10 years I did that. So they pay me, go and talk to churches, go and talk to individuals, to try to engage them to help us, right, with our mission, because we believe that God gave us a great mission and vision. And so I used to go and talk to pastors, right? Look what we're doing in the community. We need your help. We need your support. We want you to help us, and we want you to pray for us. But again, when we started working with urban pastors, I changed. And it's not about the nonprofit, it's about the church. And the nonprofits are there, we are there to support the church, to support the pastors, to support their vision, to support their mission. And so building that statewide, that picture that you see on top, it was a beautiful, that took place like 3 years ago. I don't know if you can see, we have African American, there were Oriental kids over there, Asian kids, African American kids, Hispanics, there were white kids over there. We were by Cesar Chavez High School. These are leaders that were working in Cesar Chavez High School in Laveen. There were Young Life, Elevate. There were FCA. There were churches working in the school, and they were not talking to each other. They were not everybody doing their own thing in the same high school. So that night we brought them all together and said, "Hey, let's work together." And, and it was a great, great night. So that picture will always stay with me. But we found out that we have to work together, and we have to be about the valley, not just certain area of the valley. Yeah, most of our work we do it in Maryville right now in South Phoenix, and a little bit in Stanislaus, but it's truly a valley-wide effort. Oh wow, it's almost time, right? So I want to leave the last few minutes. Have I been talking for 40 minutes?
No, it's only 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. Awesome. So can we? The next. So that's our Titus Foundation. That is our website. And then you can go to the next. And I just want to highlight the partnership with, because those are the people that we are partnering with to reach them. And so how do we energize or mobilize the urban church? It has to be an effort of many churches, many organizations, as many people that want to get involved. We need them all. We need them all. So if you guys have any questions at this time, I would love to.
So there's Care Portal. What are the other ones?
There's Mentor Kids USA.
At the bottom.
Yeah. So Care Portal will work with us for sure. The Mentor Kids story, you have to hear this story. I want to share that one. So Mentor Kids USA, have you
I've not heard.
you know about the organization? 25 years doing work here in the Valley. Great work. What they do is they go into a neighborhood and they have an after-school program for schools. So after the school is over, they bring the kids to the classroom or whatever they can, space that they can find, and mentor the kids with Bible, academics, and leadership.
In public school?
In public. Well, that's what they're doing. But I went and one of the Titus youth pastors that went to our training what we train them to do is to find needs in their community and find resources. We believe that all the resources that a community needs are already there. And so this church in Maryvale, they said, we found what is the greatest need in our community, and that is providing a mentor program for our kids, because they are right by elementary school, one of the poorest and low-rated schools in Maryvale. And the church is located they have 3 apartment complexes right across the church. And they said, all those kids, they go back after school. Most of the people living there are single moms, because the dad is in jail doing drugs or is gone. And so when the kids get home from school, nobody's there. And they are just doing whatever they want, right? And so the youth pastor and the pastor said, Pastor, if we are able to provide a after-school mentorship program, we will make a big difference in our community. So, Pastor, you told us that resources are there already. So we started making phone calls, so we started calling people, and we found Mentor Kids USA, right? And said, you guys do mentors? Yeah. And then he said, I'm sorry, but we do not work with churches. We had worked with churches in the past, and we had a really bad experience. And I said, can you just try one more church? I promise you that these people from the pastor staff and youth pastor are trained already and equipped, and they know how to reach out to the community. So they said, okay, we're going to try it last year. Actually, it was this year, in June. We're going to try for a month, see how it goes. And they invested $15,000 just on that month, providing, because they hired four people from the church. And so it was a great success. After a month of doing mentoring for the kids, 14 kids gave their heart to the Lord.
Wow.
And got baptized the last week of July, and 4 parents came and were baptized. Mentor Kids told me, and you can talk to them, actually they have a table over there. They said, during the last 25 years, we have never seen a kid being baptized in our programs.
Really?
Wow.
And so they made a big deal. They said, this actually works with urban churches. We're going to do it again. So they're going to start in January this year. The whole year is going to cost them $100,000. They already raised $250,000. For the next 2.5 years, they will be doing the mentoring program at this church,
Really?
United in One Vision. That tells you, and that came from the training to tell them, you identify the needs and the resources are already there. And Care Portal, of course, we're working with them now, because they do support a lot of single moms, and so you name it. GCU has been, one of the biggest blessings. I know everybody have their different things, right? But for us, for Titus Foundation, they have been key. And so DVULI, the boss, it's great.
What next week?
It's DVULI is the Voss family.
Oh, DeVos. Yeah.
They own Amway in Orlando, all of that. They provide for us. I work for them actually as a trainer, because they train youth pastors all over the nation. And so when they came to Phoenix, they found out about Titus, and he said, can we work together? And so we did it for 1 year, and it was a great success. And they provide most of our leadership training development that we have. It comes from them. And so it's a good thing. So bottom line...
What's the next one? Is that Feed for the Hungry?
No, the next one is a church, New City Church.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, downtown Phoenix. They're awesome.
And the next two?
Christian Family Care, the one that is coming. There's all the organizations right there, but Christian Family Care, we're doing something. That's another great testimony. So Christian Family Care are going to be doing a... the work that Christian Family Care does?
That's where my son came from.
You're right, you told me.
Yeah.
Great, or another great 40 years non-profit.
Is this Davey?
Davey.
Wow.
Yeah. We adopted him. He was 3 days old.
Wow.
Well, as we're talking right now, they are developing a training for youth pastors, so that they are able to deal and teach how to deal with trauma issues, anxiety and depression among young people. because our young people are dealing with depression and anxiety. Again, we do not have the resources, but we know that the resources are there, so we call Christian Family Care. I used to work for them, so that helps. And I said, we need a training. We are training these youth pastors. And most of the things that because we meet with them from time to time, many times during the year, they said, Pastor, we need help. And we haven't found a textbook, something that can help us train and equip. So they said, oh, we can do that. They said, I'm not going to say the amount, he told us, but if you guys come up with this amount, I'm like, we do not have that amount. Please. So they are investing a lot in their logo, and our logo will be in the content that we are going to provide and give free to youth pastors, any urban youth pastor from the valley. As a matter of fact, anybody will be able to use it. But we will be the only provider, so the one that we will distribute and train and equip. So again, we are excited. We are excited about the possibilities of writing in Phoenix a great, great, beautiful story. It's only God doing it. Yeah. If anybody has any questions, again, I'll be more than glad to answer. How do we do it then? How do we mobilize the urban church? Focusing on the next generation with the help of a lot of people in organizations. We never say no. Like David's like, I would like to connect you with this person. I always say, sure. And so, yeah.
It's really pioneer work you're doing.
Thank you.
Incredible. I mean, building foundations for the next generation of leaders to take from you.
Yeah. We couldn't do it. CCV, of course, helps that I work for them. They have been so instrumental in this. I mean,
I'd hate to see your resume. You've worked for everyone.
I know. No, really.
15 pages.
Yeah, no. No, actually, it was. I will credit CCV, the church that opened the door for us, because they told us go and reach the Hispanic community and do it. And I'm like, well, we're not gonna do the church. Though now they have a service in Spanish, but at that point they said, we want to reach out the Hispanic community of the valley. How do we do it? Do we need to hire pastors that speak Spanish? I said, no, let's go up the next generation.
It's already there.
And so it has been amazing. And so the Illuminate Community Church has been awesome. I don't know if you guys know about Illuminate. Great, great things. And United in One Vision is actually that church that we were talking about. But it's another great story over there. CCV donated their building in Maryvale. So the pastor had a great vision for Maryvale, didn't have any space.
Do they have a campus there?
Well, CCV donated the whole building to this Hispanic church without waiting for them to put their name, a logo or anything. They just said, what is it that you need? We'll find a building, $2 million.
Wow.
Here are the keys. You own it now.
This is yours.
This is a United in One Vision. Yeah, it's a great, great story. Amazing. Now they're going to be building soccer fields right there. Can you imagine in Maryvale, right in the center, 67th Avenue and Indian School.
Well, what's the name of the church?
United in One Vision.
Is this a Hispanic church? Or?
Hispanic church. Oh yeah.
Did we meet there for prayer?
For prayer. Yeah. You were there, right? That's the church, and that is the church where mentor kids are doing the mentorship program too. Yeah.
Who's the pastor of that church?
Roy Linus, that's his name. Yeah.
Is this a bilingual church? Or?
They do, and they're going to start to, but I think right now it's all Spanish. Yeah. Their youth services in English.
So what's the name in Spanish then of the church?
Unidos en una visión.
Sí.
Yeah. Yep. So pray for us, pray for Titus Foundation that God will be...
Did you start Titus Foundation?
Yeah. With the help with the help of young people. Actually, it was one young person that told me, we were drinking coffee, he said, Pastor, why our churches are always small? Why our churches don't look like other churches, you know? Why always you look at the restroom, you look at everything, our programs, our music, you know, we don't have, why? When we have the potential. He said, yeah, well, start talking about it. Let's start praying about it. And I will credit Aaron. He's part of our team. He was 21 years old when he told me that. He's 25 now. But at that time, and so please, again, when you hear Titus, Mentor Kids, it's saying Titus. They asked me, and I'm in the board of Mentor Kids. I ended up I'm in the board of Mentor Kids. But and they will tell you, there are the people that are doing a great, amazing work. So pray for them. Pray for Hispanic leaders. We have great people that can change the face of this valley for good.
Are all these church groups in the board, or it's a different board? Are they part of the board too?
Who?
All these organizations.
No, they are just help us one way or another.
But who is on the board? Are there any of them on the board?
No. No. What if you go to our website, where it said the team, we have the people that are in the board. We do meet from time to time with CCV, and we talk strategy just a little bit, and Illuminate Community Church. That's why we tell them that they are partners, because they actually talk a lot on our behalf. And if we are going to do a training, they said, we'll take care of the training. We're bringing Sixto Porras. Sixto Porras from Focus on the Family. We're bringing them on January and to train pastors from all over the valley. You're invited, Pastor. I need to send you an invitation. But we want to bless them and equip them. It's a lot of. The point that I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of people involved. It's not really one organization. It's like we're connecting. This church needs this. Well, Care Poro can help you, right? A church said we need that. Well, this organization can help you, and so. All right, I feel like I've been talking for hours, so I don't know if you have any questions. Any more questions?